Chapter 7. A Footprint. I often went to visit my canoe on the other side of the island. Sometimes I took it out to sail, but I never went far from the shore. I kept it in good order. On one of these visits to my canoe, I saw something that I could not believe. I was walking toward the canoe on the beach when I saw it. There was a footprint in the sand. My life changed. There was somebody on the island with me. I listened. I looked around. I ran up and down the beach. I went back to the footprint to see if there were more. Was it just my imagination? No, there it was. A footprint with 5 toes and a heel. One footprint. How did it get there? Whose foot was it? Suddenly, I was very frightened. I ran across the island, hurrying back to my home. Every tree, every movement, and every shadow looked like a man. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. That footprint kept me awake. Perhaps savages from the land across the sea had come to the island. Would they find me, or my canoe, or my country house? What would they do if they did? Even if they didn't find me, they might take my corn, or my canoe, or my goats. Perhaps I should destroy everything so that they would not know that there was someone on the island. I did not dare to leave my home for 3 days. Then I suddenly wondered whether the footprint might be from my own foot. Perhaps I had walked there earlier. This made me braver. I came out of my house. I needed some food and had to milk the goats. I did these things before going back to the other side of the island. I was still afraid and was ready to run back home at any moment. The footprint was still there. It was much bigger than my foot. Now I knew that somebody else had been on the island. I carefully went back home, ready to fight or shoot if I saw anybody. I built a second wall around my home and cleared the land in front of it. If anyone came near my home, I would see them. Then I made another place for my goats and kept half of them in each field. If one group of goats was discovered, I would still have the other. All this building took about 2 years. The footprint still worried me. I searched the island for other safe places to keep my goats. I went to the western side of the island, where I had never been before. From the top of a hill, I thought I could see a ship in the distance, but I could not be certain. I came down the hill to the western end of the island. I saw something there that made me realize how lucky I had been. I was horrified to see human bones lying on the sand. Ashes showed where there had been a fire, and there were logs in a circle around it. I could see that savages came here, and that they were cannibals. I felt sick. I ran from there as quickly as I could. I couldn't believe my good luck. I had been on the island for 18 years and had never seen the savages, and they had never seen me. If they had seen me, they would have killed me. I was certain that if I stayed quiet, they would never find me. I stayed close to my 2 homes and my goat field for the next 2 years. I did not go often to visit my canoe and thought about making another one on my side of the island. I always had my gun with me. However, I never shot anything in case the savages were on the island and heard the shot. When I thought about the bones on the beach, I wanted to kill the savages who did it. I made many different plans. What could one man do against perhaps 20 or 30? Perhaps I could dig a hole under their fire and fill it with gunpowder. But this would not kill enough of them, and I did not want to lose all my gunpowder. Perhaps I could take all my guns to the western hill and start shooting at them. I went there to decide where I would put the guns. I prepared the guns. Every morning, I would go to the top of the hill to see if any boats were coming. I did this for about 3 months, but it was a long way to the top of the hill, and I never saw any boats. This gave me more time to think about my plan. Was it a good idea? What would happen if I killed some, and the others escaped? They would tell others that I was on the island and returned to avenge the death of their friends. Perhaps the safest thing to do was to leave them alone. They only used one side of the island. We had not seen each other. I decided to stay away. I no longer went up the hill to see whether they had returned. I was even quieter than before. I stopped making fires at my seaside home. I didn't want the savages to see the smoke. I made all my fires at my country home in the woods, which was further away.